What does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and welcome to episode 123. 123, my folks. And this is it. This is the Lakers season recap and playoff preview episode. And we have a lot to get to, so I don't want to dilly-dally around. Now we're going to get right to it. Well, where we last left off in episode 122, the calendar had just turned to the month of April in the Deuce 5, and well, the Lakers just had 7 games left to play to finish out their season, and over the final 7 games of the Lakers regular season, they went 4-3. 4-3, although as we know, they did not play their starters at all in the final game because they defeated the Houston Rockets in the previous game, which, as it so happens, the Rockets did not play their starters. And the Lakers wrapped up the 3 seed. The Rockets had already wrapped up the 2 seed. So the Lakers were able to essentially punt that game. They started Dalton Connect and Bronny James, among others, the twin. And so that game was essentially a throwaway. And so the Lakers' final season record, they get to 50 wins, 50-32. 50 wins for the Lakers' rookie head coach, J.J. Redick. More on J.J. Kid Dynamite a little later on. But I want to start this episode by focusing on the final 7 games of the regular season leading into the playoffs. And so I want to start with the Lakers. Since the All-Star break, they had 30 games to play, as you know. They went in those 30 games. They went 18-12. 18-12 to wrap up the 3 seed. And so congratulations are in order to the coach and, of course, to the players and the organization itself on so far what has been a very entertaining and very intriguing season. But now the real season is about to begin. So let's start with just a quick look back over the previous 7 games, which got us to where we are today. Now, the Lakers started the month of April with a big game against the Dubs, the Golden State Warriors, and I tell you what, they got their asses handed to them. Luka just plain stunk. Something wrong, stinky for Luka. And, well, the bench was awful against the Dubs as well. And I will say, though, the bright spot in that game was LeBron James. The King was excellent against the Dubs, but it resulted in a loss. But then, the very next game, the Lakers got back into the winning column with a victory over the hapless Pels, the Pellies. New Orleans was the bomb that the Lakers needed. After beating the Pels, then we got the game I really want to take a peek at. The Lakers travel to OKC. Lakers Thunder. And the very first game of that 2-game set, it was Luka's redemption. Luka was magnificent. And LA ended up blowing out the Thunder. I mean, that was a surprise how they handled the Thunder with ease. And both teams were at full strength. The Thunder started their mainline players, as did the Lakers, and the Lakers put it on them. And so, you know, as I've said in previous episodes, it seems to me that the key to Luka's superpower is his ability to hit that step back 3. when Luka can get himself going with that step back three early, everything else just falls right into place for the Don and for the Lakers. And so when Luka's hitting the three, it's sunny skies for LA. But when he's missing that three, that's when he becomes a liability because, well, he keeps chucking them up and he keeps bricking them and he's not giving you much, if anything, on the defensive end, and he's struggling and his body language is terrible. And, you know, Luka wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's an emotional fellow, isn't he? And so when he's happy, he's grinning and he's chirping and he's talking to everybody and and when he's missing that shot, he's surly and he's mad at the refs. And I saw Luka missed 1 3, clanked it, and he started chirping at the ref, and the ref was like, "You shot it? I didn't shoot it. You missed, Luka. Get back on the defensive end," I guess he probably wanted to say. That's what I was thinking. But when the Don is hitting those threes, well, then it's a whole other ball game, isn't it? And in OKC, Luka was sharp. He was nailing them, and he put it on them, and the Lakers put on a clinic against the Thunder. And so because it was a 2-game set, I was extremely interested to see how both teams would respond to that first Laker win in the next game. And there were many people who suggested that the Lakers shouldn't even play their starters, that they got the first game convincingly, that they should rest Bron and Luka and start the B team and let the Thunder stew in that terrible beatdown they took. But I give J.J. Redick credit because instead of following that advice, which wasn't bad advice, but instead of following it, JJ said, no, we are going to start our main guys and we are going to beat them. Our goal will be to beat them back to back and move on down to Dallas, because there was a big game the very next day, a back-to-back in Dallas, the return of the Don to the scene of the crime. And so the Lakers came out, and in that second OKC game, yet again, they were handling their business. I mean, it was a fantastic game. And well into the fourth quarter, earlier on into the fourth quarter, I should say, the Lakers had a 1-point lead, and they looked to me like they were poised to take another one from the Thunder. And then what happened? You know what happened, don't you? Luka. He's feeling good. He's having a good time. He starts cursing out the fans. There's a particular fan, apparently, that, I guess he's got long money, and his hobby is to go around to various stadiums and sit within earshot of people like Luka and harass and verbally throw barbs at them during the game. And so Luka, aware of this guy, familiar with this guy, is giving him back and forth the same. And so Luka hits a big shot going back the other way, and the guy says something, and Luka sends out a stream of profanities toward the guy, and the ref tees him up. Get your big ass out of here, Luka. You're done. Why? Because Luka already had a technical earlier in the game. Why? For what? For cursing at the referee. The same referee. And so this time, Luka wasn't cursing at that referee. This time he was cursing at a fan, a spectator. But the referee, who had been previously offended by Luka's verbal barrage, was right in the line of fire. And when he did it, Luka, when he cursed at him, the ref assuming that it was another Luka barrage against him, teed him up, get your big ass out of here. And needless to say, that changed the entire complexion of the rest of that game, the final minutes of the fourth quarter. Luka ejected with the Lakers up a point and coming down the stretch, about to get him again. Luka now in the locker room. Take a shower, big dude. Go sit down in the back. You're done. And I thought, I couldn't help but think, you would never see Magic Johnson ejected for cursing out a fan after a big shot in a big game. You'd never see Kobe ejected cursing out a fan after a big shot in a big game. You wouldn't see LeBron ever ejected from a big game for profanities directed at a fan or a ref. You just wouldn't ever see it. But Luka, it could happen any game. In fact, Luka, because of that technical, was just one technical away from being suspended for a game in the regular season. And Luka hadn't even barely played many games this season. And so to be that high in technicals and only played such a small percentage of the scheduled games, the guy needs to mature. Okay? And DeMont and Nico and them, they have some valid points. The guy needs to mature. Now, I've heard people say, well, Luka needs all of that in order to be at his best. Well, I call bullshit. I don't believe that's the case. And you know why? Because in Dallas, that very next game in Dallas, we saw a chastened Luka. We saw a Luka who knew he had let his teammates down in the game before. We saw a Luka who was weeping because of the video tribute. That was a good strategy by Dallas. They said, hey, let's put up a really weepy, sentimental video tribute, see if we can't break him down emotionally. He might be a mess in the game. Well, it didn't work. But my point is, we saw in that Dallas game, we saw the kind of Luka I want to see going forward. Luka seemed chastened. He seemed humbled. He seemed introspective. All of the ranting and the raving and the apoplectic behavior, all of the nastiness, the profanities, and that like that image they keep showing of him cursing out Rudy Gobert. You can't fucking guard me. Ah! All of that madman behavior, that's not necessary. And we saw in Dallas there was none of that. There were no fans heckling Luka. Nobody was bothering him. Luka played his best game as a Laker that night in Dallas. 45 points, efficient shooting. No need for all the histrionics. And I want to see that Luka going forward. If we can get that Luka going forward, the Lakers are going to be in great shape. Because he is a spectacular player, but he's got to be able to harness his emotions. He's an emotional fellow. And so, at this point, I'll just say that after my last episode, apparently I triggered one of the Luka apologists. They got in their feelings, and got into my comment section, and the fellow blurts out in the comment section, LeBron's got to go. Huh? And to which I replied, you must be mad. A madman is in my comments here. He said, no, LeBron's got to go because he takes too many shots, huh? And he doesn't score enough, huh? I'm like, wait a minute. Who Who takes more shots than Luka Doncic? Huh? Doesn't score enough, do you? Do you not realize LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history? What are you talking about? He's the second leading scorer on the Lakers right now at 40 years old. And it just got me to thinking, and I told the guy, I gave him the basic information. I told him, you take these comments to somebody who doesn't know that what you're saying is bullshit. I know you're bogus, your comments. See, I can see beyond the emotional things you type. I can see what's really happening. Your personal animus towards LeBron has blinded you to the realities of what's going on. And he's not the only one. Now that Luka's here, they just as soon discard LeBron, a lot of them. And so, yes, I am going to digress here. I'm going to digress here and go down a slight rabbit hole because I think it is valuable to point out, reiterate the incredible value that LeBron James has brought to the Lakers. I told this guy, and I'll say here now, think back, my folks. Think back to before LeBron got here. 7 years. 7 years of bleak basketball. The worst stretch of Lakers basketball in franchise history. The Lakers were buried at the bottom of the NBA. No hope in sight. Draft picks after draft picks. Wasted. Misappropriated. In fact, one draft year, the Lakers had an opportunity because they were so bad year after year. They were drafting high. They had an opportunity to draft Jason Tatum, JT. Instead, they drafted Lonzo Ball. And Magic is telling Lonzo Ball, your jersey is going to be in the rafters one day. The rafters where? At his high school gym? But the Lakers were making those kinds of mistakes. And it goes back to the dearth in leadership. It goes back to 2013. That's where we can trace the demise, the decline, the precipitous fall of the once proud Lakers franchise. Let's go back and look at it right now very quickly, my folks. Remember now, prior to 2012, 2013, the Lakers were, like always, competitive. Every year you had the hope that this could be another championship campaign. And so let's look at it now. Let's go back and look at it now. Let's look at it in depth. Let's go back to, let's say 2008, 2009. Oh, that was a great year, wasn't it? Because the year before the 07-08 campaign under Phil Jackson, this is the Phil Jackson era now. 2007 and 8, the Lakers lost in the finals. And they came back the following year, 08-09, and that's where we're going to pick up. Phil Jackson and the Lakers went 67-15 in the regular season. 67-15, damn near 70 games. And they won the title in 08-09, and then they were back-to-back champions the very next year. Phil Jackson and the Lakers went 57-25 in the regular season, and they won their second championship in a row. And now we get to the demise. In 2010, 2011, the 2010-2011 season, this would be Phil Jackson's final season as Lakers head coach. And in that season, 2010 and 11, the Lakers went 57-25. 57-25. But they lost in the Western Conference semifinals. And then the following year, there was a new head coach, Mike Brown. And Mike Brown went 41-25 that year. Now keep in mind, that year there was a labor problem, a lockout that shortened the season. They went 66 games in the regular season that year. And so the Lakers went 41-25. And once again, they lost in the Western Conference semifinals. This is 2011-2012. They lost in the Western Conference semifinals under Mike Brown. And now we're getting to the meat of it, the heart of it. Because the Lakers had lost back-to-back playoff series in the Western Conference semifinals in back-to-back years under Phil Jackson in 2010, 2011, and then under Mike Brown in 2011, 2012. So let's focus now our attention on 2012, 2013. 2012, 2013. Mike Brown started that season as Lakers head coach, but the Lakers got off to a less than admirable start. They began the season that year at 1-4, and at 1-4, they swung the axe. The Lakers fired Mike Brown after a 1-4 start. And they brought in the new head coach, or interim head coach, Bernie Bickerstaff, father of J.B. Bickerstaff. And I do believe J.B. Bickerstaff ought to win Coach of the Year this year for the work he has done, turning around the Detroit Pistons. But I digress. Bernie Bickerstaff came in just for 5 games as Lakers interim head coach, and he went 4-1. And so now the Lakers are 5-5, and they release Bickerstaff and they hire Mike D'Antoni the rest of the way. Mike D'Antoni. And I used to say D'Antoni was the individual most responsible for Kobe popping his Achilles because he played him way too many minutes. But 2012 turns into 2013. And in February of 2013, Dr. Jerry Buss passes away. The Lakers front office, there's a vacuum now. And just a couple months after that, in April, the same year, 2013, there's that 13, unlucky 13. In April of 2013, Kobe Bryant pops his Achilles, and Kobe would never be the same player after that injury. Although he did come back 8 months later. By December of 2013, Kobe was back on the court. But that year, once D'Antoni ran Kobe into the ground, once that Achilles popped, the Lakers were done and they flamed out first round of the playoffs. And then from that point forward, 2013 forward, up until the arrival of LeBron James, it was just a slow, painful, agonizing descent into sub-mediocrity for my Lakers franchise, something I had never seen before. And it didn't last just for a season or two. It was an extended period of malaise, of misdirection, of lackluster losing. It was bleak. It was dismal. It was abysmal. And people seem to forget these years and years of it. Bad draft picks and the seasons were, let's just take a quick peek at it. The following season, 2013-14, Mike D'Antoni led the Lakers to a record of 27-55. Woo-hoo! Double nickel, 27-55 in 2013-14. And then the following season, it was even worse. Now, D'Antoni was relieved of his duties, and Byron Scott, the old Showtime Lakers legend, comes in to coach Kobe, a rehabbing, end of the line Kobe. And Byron Scott, in the 2014-2015 season, goes 21-61. Oh, 21-61 in 2014-2015 with Kobe. But Kobe injured himself again. He wasn't able to finish the end of that season. He had a knee injury. And then in 2015-2016, Byron Scott and the Lakers went 17-65. Oh, say it ain't so. 17-65. And Kobe mercifully retires after 20 years with a 60-point game. But the Lakers were awful. And then 2016-2017, Byron Scott is now replaced by Luke Walton, Bill's boy, and the Lakers go 26-56. 26-56, my folks. And then 2017 and 2018, Luke Walton still at the helm. The Lakers go 35-47. At least they had started to turn the tide a little bit. But 2018-2019, I'll never forget where I was. I was on a bus on my way to the Hollywood Bowl for a fantastic concert, and a gentleman blurts out to someone he was sitting next to, "LeBron James is coming to the Lakers," and I immediately yell out, "You're lying!" He said, no, it's true. And I said, yes, because I knew that the misery would soon, finally, be over. And don't forget, my folks, how the Roaches, the racists, how they welcome LeBron to L.A. They spray painted racial slurs on his property. You know they would never dare dream of defacing Luka's property. They love him so. And I can't help but wonder, you have so much love for Luka, who did not want to come, who still apparently is sad at being here. And to me, I'm like, dude, come on, snap out of it, man. You are in the best possible scenario you could be in. Get over, put your happy face on, turn that frown upside down, Luka. Get out of your feelings, man. And I hope after the Dallas game, it looks to me as that might have been the catharsis Luka needed to move on and become more of himself. And I think maybe that's why he played so poorly for so many games before that Dallas game. He was heartbroken, Luka, sad and sick and depressed that they had sent him away. They exiled him in the middle of the night, and it broke his spirit. But LeBron chose to come to L.A. to uplift the team, and you welcome him with that vile manner. And then, in his first year as a Laker in 2018-2019, I'll never forget it now. I was at a hotel in Las Vegas watching on Christmas Day as LeBron and the Lakers were taking on the Golden State Warriors, and LeBron had the Lakers in first place. This team, this miserable team, all these years, 7 years of misery, 35-47 the year before. And then LeBron comes, and on Christmas Day against the The Warriors, the Lakers are in first place, and he slips on that wet spot and he tears his groin, and the whole season is derailed. That was LeBron's first year in LA. And then his second year, he starts the new season with a new batch of teammates. He shipped all those characters out. Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, gone. Josh Hart, gone. And he's got AD. That's his running mate now. That is the new Robin. He would prove to be the rubber band man Robin, but with AD in tow. In LeBron's second season in LA, they win a title, a chip. Now, granted, a global pandemic had broken out, and it ended up being in the bubble, that championship. And people try to disparage that championship, but the Lakers were the best team in the NBA that year. And they proved it in the bubble, and they won a title fair and square, and you can't put an asterisk on that. And so LeBron delivers a championship for LA in just his second year in town. And yet, despite that, turning the fortunes around, bringing a championship, another championship, making the Lakers credible again, making them contenders again, despite that, this is how the people repay him with scorn and disdain, and they don't like him, and this and that, and he's not this and he's not that. And yet Luka, someone who didn't want to be here, who's miserably depressed about being exiled to LA, and I can't help but wonder why so much hate for LeBron and love for Luka. What is the difference between the two? Well, it's as obvious as the nose on your face, isn't it? And so, I could not help myself but to react with disdain at this commenter who postulates that LeBron doesn't score enough and takes too many shots. That's completely ass backwards. It's asinine. I digress. Let's come up out of the rabbit hole. And so, of course, the year that they won the bubble championship, Frank Vogel was the head coach, and Frank Vogel was released after a 33-49 season, and that season was marred with injuries. LeBron was hurt again in that season, and Vogel, Frankie V, was replaced by Darvin Ham, who I have nicknamed Pastor Pockets. Well, you may have an idea why I have named him thusly. You see him every time. You'd see him at half court or moving along the sideline, and he's a big hulking figure, but he'd have both his hands buried deep down into his pockets. And after the games, he'd always have a pithy quote. He'd have it reminded me of some philosophy or a type of pastoral way of approaching the losses. And he would say things after a loss like, "We are going to fill up our cups and we will be back with renewed enthusiasm." Okay, Pastor Pockets, that's good. Fill up your cups. I get you. But it seemed as though he was a little short on X's and O's. But despite some perceived shortcomings, Pastor Pockets went 43-39 in his first season as Lakers head coach. And Pastor Pockets got the Lakers all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where they fell to the Joker and the Denver Nuggets. And The next year, Pastor Pockets did improve upon his regular season record. The Lakers went 47-35. 47-35, a 4-game improvement. But this time, the Lakers are bounced in the first round by the same damn joker in them, the Nuggets. And to add more fuel to the flame, it appeared that AD and LeBron and others perhaps had grown a bit weary of Pastor Pocket's sayings and philosophy and lack of detailed coaching game plan. And after his second season, Pastor Pockets was sent out to pasture, replaced, as you know, by JJ Redick. JJ and I, at the time, questioned it openly, as did many others, and so I did an episode where I openly questioned the sensibility of hiring Redick, and I said the jury will remain out until after the season, and we'd have to assess it, and, well, I'm very pleased to report that hiring J.J. Redick was the very best move the Lakers could have possibly made. I mean, I recall how they were so enamored with Hurley. They wanted Danny Hurley, remember? And they wooed him and they were going to offer him this huge contract. And they flew him out, and he basically, it seems as though Danny Hurley used the Lakers as a bargaining chip to get a better deal out of UConn. But now, in hindsight, look at it. Did you see Danny Hurley after UConn got bounced out of the tournament, and he's cursing about the refs, and he's unhinged, and he's an emotional wreck. The Lakers, I believe, dodged a major bullet by stumbling into J.J. Redick versus Danny Hurley. Danny Hurley, I wonder if he now regrets his decision to not accept the head coaching position of the most renowned basketball franchise in the entire NBA. I wonder if he regrets it. Well, you see, UConn, who knows what they'll end up being next year, but what we do know is the Lakers got the right guy. J.J. Redick is detail-oriented. He has self-described as a sickie, a psycho. He's a basketball psycho. He said in that game against the Joker that he didn't sleep for several days, devising, coming up with strategies, that he's got more strategies in mind for the playoffs, and he's handled everything really well. He's handled the Bronny James situation. He's managed LeBron and AD, and then ultimately presided over the incorporation of the Don into the whole outfit. And he has improved upon the Lakers' record. He has managed to lead the Lakers to a 50-win season, only their second in the last 13-14 years. And he has them, in my opinion, in a prime position to make a deep playoff run. At least that's what I'm expecting. Trust and believe. And so, I have to say, it was an A+ hire. The evidence bears it out. LeBron seems to be very respectful and appreciative of what Redick brings to the coaching table. And I'm extremely impressed with the job that he has done. Instead of this perennial play-in business, the Lakers have a 3 seed and home court in the first round of the playoffs. That's more like it. I like the trajectory we are finally on again. Now, Luka at Dallas. It was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, the Mavs did a nice job with the video tribute, as I mentioned, and, it was an emotional moment for Luka. And then the Lakers, they wrapped their arms around him, and it seemed as though, to me, Luka played his most complete game as a Laker. It seemed as though he was calm, he was centered, he was present in the moment, focused. He seemed to have clarity. He was decisive. His shot was sweet. Everything was just ideal as he put 45 on his old team. And I hope that game was cathartic for Luka. I hope that was the game that allowed him to turn the page and move on. You're in a better place now, man. And the evidences seem to bear that out, because since that Dallas game, Luka has been lights out, looking real sharp. So we had the 2 games back to back, the OKC ejection and then the Dallas return. And from that point forward, it's almost like we've gotten a new Luka. And he himself said he was finally able to get some sleep. So maybe he's finally now clear of all of the emotional stressors that were, I think, hindering his game. Now maybe he can just play free and clear, but I hope he doesn't go back to all of that nastiness and the, because, Rudy is their first opponent, Minnesota, Gobert, the Stifle Tower. And he's got a particular animus, it seems to me, against poor Rudy. And Rudy doesn't bother anybody, but Rudy gets choked out and people talk bad about Rudy. And honestly, Luka, it would serve you and the Lakers much better to see a version of you like the one we saw in Dallas, like the one we've seen since the Mavs game. You don't need to be cursing out refs. You don't need to be cursing out fans. Just play ball, man. You're a Laker now. You're not in Dallas anymore, man. So, one other note about the Dallas Laker game, the Luka return. What about the 2 trade participants? AD versus Luka. Luka puts up 45. AD, what did he give you? 13. And AD looked in that game as he has in many of his Laker games. He looked lethargic, a bit detached, float on. He's a floater sometimes. He floats out along the perimeter. He's standing out, spectating beyond the 3-point line. You don't shoot threes worth a damn, AD. Why are you spending so much time above the arc? Meanwhile, Luka's just cooking them up, slicing and dissecting. And anybody who had any doubt who won that trade, I mean, it was just as clear as day. 45! 13, wimpy. Rubber band man Robin. So the Lakers, once again, come up smelling like a rose. Fade. The basketball gods again smile on the purple and gold. And so, despite all of Luka's heroics, in the end, in that Dallas game, it's a good thing LeBron was there, because he brought the game home. And see, that's what LeBron can be now for you. He's the closer. Luka can do all of his step back threes and behind the back assists and have a ball in the first half. But in the end, in the fourth quarter, LeBron is going to close it and bring it home for you. And LeBron is going to show Luka how to win a championship this year, I believe. And then a final note about the Don's return, the Dallas Mavs Lakers game in Dallas, the fans, and they love Luka, understood, and I get all the cheering and we love you and the signs and everything. I get that. But the fans are still down there chanting, "Fire Nico! Fire Nico! Fire!" They're still calling for Nico's head, and they're gonna serve up his head on a platter. Trust and believe that. But it's like they're patsies, they're rubes, foolish individuals who still somehow have accepted the notion that it was Nico who came up with and executed the worst trade in NBA history. That Nico said, "Hey, you know what? He's a bright guy. Hey, you know what? I think I just want to ruin my future and trade away the franchise beloved player and get little to nothing in return. I think that's what I want to do because I don't have anything better to do today." And if you doubt what I'm telling you, just consider for a second that in order to make a move like that, to ship Luka out in the middle of the night like that, Nico did. He had to have not only the blessing, but most likely the command of ownership. There's no way you could make a move like that as a solitary individual, as a GM. You'd never get it past the ownership group. You think Nico would have attempted to move Luka while Mark Cuban was the owner? It never would have come up. This was a directive sent from on high, from Patrick DeMont. And Nico is just the patsy, the human shield that carried it out. And then he will have his head served up on a platter to appease the fans who, as rubes, keep yelling "Fire Nico" as if he was responsible. And he's played his part well. You know, he stands out and takes the fire. He shows up. He says, "Hey, you know, I believe defense wins championships, and we think we'll be better." But you saw him at that trade press conference that first day with J. Kidd, and he said, "Hey, you know, we'll probably be buried long before that. Both of us." He was saying J. Kidd and himself will probably be buried behind this trade. You think? As I say, he's a bright guy. Why would he sign up for that? The man can't even go out in his home city. I assume his home city now. I don't know where he was born, but he can't go around Dallas. He's got to have security. He's got to have an escort. People want to harm him. Come on, man. Wake up. So, since we're on firings and other happenings around the NBA, what about the Lakers' daddy? Did you see that now? The self-proclaimed Lakers' daddy is homeless. They kicked him out the house. The Lakers' daddy is living in the van. Malone, get the hell out of here. I didn't see that one coming. The NBA has been amazing this year with the storyline. I mean, the product has been fantastic, but the roller coaster ride, the storylines, oh boy. These playoffs are going to be epic. And looking around the league, you know, Memphis is in the play-in, right? Memphis and Golden State, that ought to be intriguing. And let's talk about Ja seems to have some issues, doesn't he? You think? I mean, okay, so he's got a gun fetish, clearly. You know, he loves being photographed, and maybe even when there's no cameras around, maybe he just loves playing around with firearms. But the NBA has come down hard on Ja. Ja, you can't be at the club dangling firearms. You can't be in the car pointing weapons. You can't do gun gestures. We're gonna take 75,000 from you, Ja, if you keep pointing guns and rifles and pantomiming these weapons. And so Ja said, okay, you're gonna take 75,000. That's a lot. I tell you what, instead of guns, rifles, bang, 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 shoot 'em up, 3, boom, 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 I got a better idea. This is what I'll do from now on. I'll pop the pin and throw a grenade in the audience and then cover my ears when it explodes. All pantomime, when I hit a big shot. So if I have a circus shot, a layup in the lane that spins in with that English, I pop the pin and throw that grenade out in the crowd and cover my ears as I run back down the court. He's into weapons, the man is. And then they said, well, why is this man blowing up grenades and throwing them in the crowd? And Josh said, no, you don't understand. You don't need to take another 75,000 from me. Those aren't grenades I'm throwing. They're not. Well, what are you doing, pray tell, with this pin popping and throwing and explode? What is that? He said what he's doing. This was the explanation Ja Morant came up with now. What he's doing, he said, I'm taking the words out of my mouth and throwing the words into the crowd. And I'm covering my ears because I don't want to hear their response. Okay, well, if there's self-destruct written all over a guy, he's probably the leading candidate, Ja. And let me just say this finally as another around the league peek. Did you see Isaiah Thomas, Zeke, get all exercised? I mean, he was apoplectic at LeBron. Did you see him? He got mad because LeBron was shooting warm-up shots, taking practice shots without his shirt on. What? LeBron, a basketball player, was taking shots and he didn't have his shirt on? Not during the game. There's no crowd there. It's an empty arena. He's just practicing before the people come in. But he didn't have a shirt on. And Isaiah was exercised. He was apoplectic. He out here with no shirt. Fine that, he kept saying. Don't worry about Ja throwing grenades. Fine that, the man doesn't have a shirt on. That's not professional. Fine that, commissioner. And he was trembling and worked himself up. And I don't know, he looks like he's had some health issues. I don't know what happened exactly, but he's an older guy. But it's like, dude, I mean, and Isaiah is well documented. He's got some issues where, I don't know if it's insecurity about his legacy or if I don't know what it is, but he seems to feel as though he didn't get enough credit. He's kind of got the little Richard complex. He never got one hard-boiled egg, he seems to think. And, he's angry, crotchety. He's an old fellow that got really pissed. And LeBron was like, you know what? I started to say something about something, but I'm just going to let it be. There's no point at this point in my career dealing with that. I'll just say congratulations, JJ, on 50 wins and a 3 seed. And that's where I'll leave that as well. And now back to my Lakers. Let me say finally this. In the offseason, I did a video questioning J.J. Redick, questioning the direction of the franchise, and I questioned the Lakers personnel. And I said in that episode, you cannot win a championship. You will not have a deep playoff run if your starting backcourt is D'Lo and Reeves. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. And thankfully, I give Rob Pelinka a lot of credit. He has had an eventful year. He got rid of D'Lo and Doe, Finney-Smith, great pickup. Good job, Rob. And then Luka, just the Don fell into his lap. The rubber band man, Robin, for Luka, outstanding work, sir. And the hire of Redick, as I have mentioned, good move. I'm glad Hurley stiffed the Lakers, because that wouldn't have turned out as well as this, I'm pretty sure. Now, able to look at it in hindsight. And so, the last thing I want to say this episode is, I wasn't sure if Reeves could be what they wanted him to be, which was the third piece of a big three. And I kept saying, you've given it to him prematurely. I don't know if he can handle it. I don't know if he's ready. Well, let me say right here and now, Reeves has proven he is that guy. He is the third piece. And they can win a title with him. And the way he's playing this year, it's been a revelation. And so getting rid of D'Lo and keeping Reeves, perfect work by the GM in the front office. And so, just on an aside, I saw recently, though, Reeves said that white players don't get enough credit for being good. Oh, no, Reeves, boo-hoo, cry me a river, Reeves. Come on now. You had a good long stretch of time when you couldn't have any players but white players. You want to go back to that? Some of these individuals probably do. Cry me a river, Reeves. Just go and ball out. You know, keep your head down. You don't have to cry that you're being discriminated against. Your game didn't measure up, and now you have elevated your game, and you will get the credit you deserve, and it has nothing to do with complexion. Okay? Let's get that straight. And he's hollering, watch golf, watch the Masters. Reeves, study film. Keep focusing on your game. Keep getting better. Don't get complacent now because you're getting good press coverage, okay? That is my message to AR. The 3-6 matchup is my Lakers versus the Wolves, and that should be a good one now. The Wolves and Lakers split their 4 games. They were 2-2 this season. And I expect that Ant is going to probably have some good games. He'll probably have a clunker scattered in there along the way. But I just don't think that Minnesota has enough to deal with what the Lakers are bringing. And in the 4-5, Nuggets and the Clips. How about it? Let me tell you what. I'm glad the Lakers didn't have a first-round matchup with the Clips, because in the last 10 games of the NBA regular season, only the Clippers went 9-1. They had the best final 10 games of the regular season of any team in the NBA. 9-1, balling out. Kawhi the Claw balling out. The Beard balling out. Zubac balling out. I like the Clips. And so, Clips versus Nuggets, I think the Nuggets going down to defeat at the hands of the Clips. And so, at this point, what I am going to now ask from you, what I'm going to ask you to do is throw me one of these. Please like the video, subscribe. If you haven't already, leave me a comment if you are so inclined. And until the next one, which you know won't be too long from this one, because we will be back on the other side of the Lakers-Wolves series to chop up the outcome and hopefully to prepare for the second round opponent. And I predict that that will be the case. And so until then, my friend, Scotty says, thanks for watching. Go Lakers. One love.